What's good, YouTube? Back again with another video. It's obviously gonna be game one of the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the San Antonio Spurs. Game one highlights. I was checking into this game throughout the game. This was definitely one of the best games I've seen in the past maybe 2-3 years. I'm not gonna lie. On both sides of the ball, defensively, amazing game. And Wemby, I don't know what to really say, man. That was an incredible performance by him today last night. So. The numbers he put up was pretty glaring. That was amazing effort. I love how Stephen Castles played as well. And Champagne was definitely an aggressive guy shooting the ball. So this is definitely a shocker. Spurs able to come out. Not a huge shock because I knew this series would be tough for anyone to win back and forth. To be honest, I was predicting in my own thought process, telling my friends that this game could go maybe 6-7 games for sure. So let's jump right into these highlights. You guys don't forget to like, comment if you want. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, like I said. Let's jump right into it. Let's see how the Spurs was able to steal game one on the road in a hostile environment against the defending champs. Let's go. Good put back. Spurs started off real hot. I knew the Thunder was in for a big one. Good shot. What a block. I remember seeing that. Woo! Wemby, even in that play right there, how Wemby was able to switch like that. Thunder definitely had energy. Shea kind of struggled in this game, to be honest. Caruso was actually getting money early. He was doing this thing early. You would think when they added Williams back to this lineup off of his injury that they would have been a little bit better. I know it's one game, but I feel like their whole mojo got thrown off with him back in the lineup. Ooh, good cross. Good shot. These young dudes was getting real slick with the ball. I'll give them credit. But that's gonna be the X factor throughout the entire series, is that these outside of Wemby, these guys are gonna have to make wide open shots, because they definitely gonna have opportunities too. It seemed like their game plan, Spurs defensive game plan, was leave Caruso open because he was getting money early. Like I said, great dunk. I mean, they just leaving Caruso. That's a scary thought, to be honest. It's a scary thought, to be honest. If that's going to be their game plan going forward. See, that ain't going to work. Defensively, not having Chet on him. You got to put your longest defender on him. That's just all day. And the fact that the Thunder weren't doing anything differently in terms of how they was defending him early was shocking to me. I meant to say before this series started that Chet Holmgren he'd be the biggest X factor in the series on both sides of the ball, but more so defensively against Wemby. That was a tough shot. I expected more from Holmgren, to be honest, throughout this game. He didn't do enough to me. Can't have disappearing acts in big games like this. They need you to step up and be at least the second or third best player on the team. Can't just rely upon Shea to do everything. That's a tough shot that he missed. Dort. Yeah, Harper, yeah, Castle. A lot of the young Bucks was definitely putting in work and really stepping up and playing well. And I love this. Castle was really taking on a challenge of going at Shea. Like I said, he was getting money. Of course, we get hit with the ad. Of course. But he was getting money earlier, like I said. It was a really, really competitive game throughout the entirety of the game, even in the 2 overtimes. God, these ads be killing me, man. Oh, my God. Big shot from Johnson. He's a big factor, too. They finally started doubling. See, even though he scored right there on Chet, I'm going to live with that. You live with that. That was a tough shot. Damn. They're like using Caruso. It's weird. They're using Caruso to kind of front Wemby, but then trying to have Chet or another person come over at the end and try to defend at the last second. Bad pass. Way to get the board. Tough shot. See, now they got home run on it. See? We'll take that. Good job. Caruso for the Thunder, he was basically the MVP for the Thunder. I mean, he had a great game shooting the ball and playing a lot of effort defensively. That was a tough ass shot. I like that little hezzy Shea did. Williams on him. I just don't like that defensive. I don't like that as the defensive game plan right there against Wemby. That was a tough shot by Shea. Very tough shot. They got lucky right here. Good block by Tret, though. Chet came up there and made a great play. Like that, I don't get why Chet wasn't on him more. I seen it, and he stared him down. I remember that. Castle dunked on Shea and then stared his ass down. Let him know that I'm here, boy. Too easy, like I said. What's scary is Caruso had this type of game because it seemed like this the defensive game plan for the good play right there. Once again, good play. Caruso is everywhere in this game. Good dunk by Shea. This is one of the biggest shots. That was one of the biggest shots I've ever seen in a high leverage moment in the playoffs in like a long time. Not in terms of like one of the greatest shots ever, but no, just in terms of the magnitude of this game and what was going on. For him to pull that shot, especially with that much time on the clock, and just take it like that, 5 feet beyond the 3-point line like that, that looked like that was a 35-footer, and he just pulled it like it was nothing. This boy Wemby is he's a dangerous man, and he's still young in his career. That's a good look. They got lucky. They could have caught a foul on that. See, it's just, once again, they taking Shea out the game by doubling. So these guys got to make their shots. Once again, look at Wemby once again. Just too easy, man. Big shot. Once again, it like that. And one. I don't understand that game plan. Go back. I truly don't understand the game plan defensively, like I said, when it comes to the Thunder in these last few minutes. I get you got Chet guarding Champagne, and he's there to help, to be honest. But, I mean, he's so far away, like, that by the time the ball gets to Wemby, he's just too late. He's late rotating over. That's easy. It's way too late. I'd much rather just have Chet on him, especially in the last few minutes of the game like they had it in the fourth quarter, the end of the fourth quarter. Good block. They just couldn't score. Once again. Good block. Wembyama just... So even though it was a great performance by Wemby, like I said, a lot of the defensive schematics that the Thunder were throwing in terms of how to defend him were just not, to me, up to snuff. Having Caruso on him and smaller guys rather than having Chet, your biggest player on your side, longest, linkiest defender that could defend him, at least make it a lot tougher. I'll go down with that being my defensive game plan, is having Chet on him more often than not, rather than anybody else. Because I mean, like, I counted at least there had to be at least 5 or 6 easy just scores for Wemby where it wasn't that much resistance because of who was guarding him. You know, Shea definitely got to play better, shoot the ball better. He didn't shoot the ball well at all. I thought Castle and those boys really got up in him and made it tough on him. Double team him at certain points, and also just being physical, having athletic guards be able to defend him on the perimeter. Wemby, like I said, having a 41-24 game. I mean, if he's on the boards like that, it's going to be a rough series for the Thunder going forward. They're going to have to come up with another defensive game plan or try something else, in a sense, to try to stop him, because you can't afford to have one player being able to dominate the boards like that. Chet's got to step up. Like I said, before the series started, I thought he was the biggest X factor for the Thunder. You know, how was he going to be on the defensive end and helping out and trying to stop Wemby, or at least slow him down? Not stop him completely, but just make it tough on him, you know? It's like Jalen Williams getting integrated back in the starting lineup. He took a lot of shots. You know, he shot okay. He played okay. But him getting integrated back in the lineup seemed like it kind of hurt a lot the rest of the team, to be honest. And like I said, it was scary is that you had somebody like Caruso who had 31 off the bench. I mean, dude had 31 off the bench. What's scary is that you shouldn't expect that going forward in terms of your games to come in the future. Game 2, Game 3, and Game 4. I don't expect that to be the case. Him playing that well. That's probably the best offensively he's going to play throughout the entire series. Having the way he shot the ball. So, man hit 8 threes. Shot 11 of 19, I think. Shea's gonna have that way better game. You know, if you can get half of that out of Caruso on a game to game basis throughout this series, it's probably still gonna be a great series. But I hope they're not banking on that, because it seemed like the Spurs defensive schematics was to leave him open, give him open shots, and see if he can knock him down. And he definitely did. So, but Spurs still gain 1 on the road. Come here, get a crucial win, and Wemby takes another step forward and trying to get to an NBA Finals for the first time in his career. He definitely showed up and showed out along with the rest of those guys. Harper had a great game. It's gonna be interesting going forward to see what's gonna be the adjustments in Game 2 for the Thunder defensively against Wemby, and also what do the Spurs do? Do they stick to the same defensive game plan that they had in this game, or do they switch it up? But this is a good game. Game 1 highlights. I can't wait for Game 2. This is definitely gonna be a great series. It has already started off. Game 1 having a double OT. It shows you how competitive this series is going to be going forward. So we'll see what happens. As I always said in my videos, thank you guys all for watching. And as always, until we meet again.